Alright now, this review is about to be straight raw because I'm tired as fuck. It's like, let's see, it's 1:56 in the motherfucking morning, okay? I got off of work at 10 o'clock, so I had to get off, get settled, watch the show like 2-3 times just so I can make my notes. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not editing shit, okay? This shit gonna be raw as a motherfucker, okay? It's gonna be raw like you trying to get a bitch pregnant. That's just how raw this damn video finna be, because I'm not finna edit a goddamn thing. I'm not gonna tweak shit. I'm not finna make it perfect. I'm finna do this video and put this shit right on YouTube, okay? Because I am fucking tired, okay? But before I get into the review, I just want you guys to check out my interview with one of the people that's on the show. One of the stars of Chasing Dallas. I did an interview with King Kang this past Saturday while I was in Dallas. We sat down and we chopped it up for a good 20 minutes. He met three of my close friends from childhood and all of that stuff. And I'm gonna tell you like this, I was nervous as a motherfucker when I first met him. I went downstairs to meet with him. I think he was at the lobby, and I didn't want his car to get towed. So I went downstairs, and by the time I made it down there, he had already parked his car. They had already told him that his car would be fine, and he hugged me, and we chatted for a little bit before we made it up to my room. And when we got there, you know, my friends had helped me with my lighting. They helped me with my tripod and all of that stuff. So everything was already set up and ready to go for him. And he made me comfortable, because I was nervous as fuck, okay? It's a lot that you didn't see. Because right before we hit record on this camera, I was so motherfucking nervous. Even after we pressed record, I was still like, oh my God, I'm gonna edit this out. And I did. So y'all didn't, like I said, y'all didn't see everything. But Kang was very open. He was very honest. And he was very comfortable in his own skin to talk about whatever it was I wanted to ask him. So, I want to thank King Kang once again for just being a part of Unfiltered. As I said, Unfiltered is a new segment that I'm doing from my YouTube channel, and I really enjoyed having King Kang on my show. Now, since the rabbit is out of the hat, before I get into the review, since the rabbit is out of the hat, King Kang was not the only cast member that was supposed to be featured on Unfiltered. In addition to me scheduling an interview with King Kang, I was also supposed to do one with Charles. And if you don't know by now, I know Charles personally. I know him from Jackson. You know, Jackson and Canton, Mississippi. You know, we right there next to each other. I know Charles because we have several friends in common. I've attended his parties before, so I know him personally. I know the type of guy that he is. So, you know, when I do these reviews and I talk about the shit, I'm really looking at this unbiasedly. You know, just so y'all won't think I'm being biased. I do know Charles personally, but I'm just watching what I see on the show. So, you know, it is what it is. But I was supposed to do one with Charles when I first got to Dallas that Friday night. But the thing of it was, we got to Dallas late as fuck. So we didn't get into Dallas until like 11. So I was tired as fuck, and I know I wasn't going to do no damn, we wasn't going to sit down that night. We tried to do it the same day. Because I was going to have like 3-4 interviews on Saturday. Because at first I was going to do Charles that Friday. I was going to do Kane that Saturday. And Markel that Saturday. But something happened with Charles, so we wasn't able to do it. Because me and Charles discussed doing this way back when, like when they first started showing promos for the show. And he had already agreed to it, you know what I'm saying? But something happened, and that's why he couldn't do it. But I know that he would have done it for me if he was able to. So Charles was also supposed to do this. Tony was also supposed to do this, but we had already talked, and he had told me that he would not be in Dallas by the time I'm there. So because of that, that's why we weren't able to sit down, and he wasn't able to be featured on Unfiltered. And as far as Markel is concerned, he had totally forgot about me even asking him to do Unfiltered, and I don't know what happened with that, but I really wish that he would have been able to come on the show. But you know, the only person I really got to get with while I was there was King Kang. I probably should have tried to reach out to the rest of them, but I only reached out to the ones that I liked the most. I wanted to reach out to Aubrey, but I was scared to reach out to Aubrey. I don't know why I was scared to reach out to Aubrey. I just, you know, I just felt like, oh, this motherfucker ain't gonna want to do no damn. He ain't gonna want to sit down with me. You know what I'm saying? But I probably should have asked him though, because like I said, I had Kane, Charles, Markel, and Tony. I had those 4, and I wanted to have a 5th, which was Aubrey, but I just didn't ask him because number 1, I was scared to ask him, and number 2, I thought I was going to be putting too much on myself to be trying to interview all of these people in one damn weekend. But I was going to try to do it. I even bought 2 more memory cards in case I was going to interview all of them, okay? I was totally prepared and everything. But Kane came through, and I was really I really appreciated him doing that. He's a real ass dude, and I really like him. And, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully the next time I come to Dallas, I see him again. And hopefully in the future, he can come back and he can sit down with me again on Unfiltered. Make sure y'all support him in everything that he does. So let's just get into the review. We're going to pick up where we left off last week with Tony and B. King. Now, one thing about it, and 2 things for motherfucking certain. I did not like B. King when this shit first started. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did not like B. King. I just was totally turned off by this whole, I'm a happily married man. Oh, but trust and believe. Don't let that stop you from sliding into my DMs. I'm like, what the fuck kind of shit is this, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I really didn't understand what he was about. So that's why I can't say I didn't like B. King. I didn't understand B. King, period, okay? At all. So that's what that was. But, you know, I will say that he handled the situation with Tony with, you know, he didn't handle it with kid gloves. He handled it like a grown-ass man. You know what I'm saying? I really do appreciate that, because a lot of the times with the gays, everybody want to read, everybody want to shade, everybody want to get somebody together. But B. King handled that shit like a damn man should. You know what I'm saying? That's how he handled that situation. And I do agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, although we all gay, no matter what we like, no matter whether we like to be poked in the ass or we like to poke the ass, at the end of the day, we are still grown ass men, so we should handle conflict like grown ass men. And you know, Tony is a Virgo, and he told me that when we were in talks about him being on Unfiltered. He is a Virgo, just like Kane is Virgo, just like my sister is a Virgo, just like the guy that I used to date is a Virgo. They are very argumentative, and they handle things the way that they see fit. Me being an Aquarius, I handle things like, me and my sister just had an argument like a couple of days ago. She was just yelling and screaming, and I'm just laying on my bed like, why are you yelling? And you know, because I'm so calm, that makes her even more infuriated. So Virgos, that's just something serious for me. You know, whatever. But Tony is a hothead pretty much. So he's gonna handle situations the way he sees fit. If he feels like he's being disrespected in some kind of way, he's just gonna call that shit out like it is. And I do appreciate that about him, because it's one thing to deal with disrespect, but it's another thing to allow someone to disrespect you, especially a person that you consider a friend, or a person that you've, you know, work with it. In a sense, you will want that respect factor to be there. So I do understand that. But what I was kind of confused about was B. King talking about he never talked about him in a club. Wasn't you and Kane talking about him at the club? They did show the flashback. So were you or were you not talking about Tony at the club with King Kane? Now tell me you wasn't, because I believe you were. You know what I'm saying? Like, they showed the flashback, so apparently you was talking shit, and it's okay if you were, but you know, it is what it is. But eventually they got past that situation and they let it go or whatnot. So Reese and Charles, you know, they started back talking about their issue. Now, like I said, this whole Reese and Charles thing is so fucking confusing because one minute you mad with him because he didn't come to your event, but you also want to bring up some other shit. Now I'm thinking you was still mad with him by not showing up because you call him all types of church queens. You talking about him like a motherfucking dog just because he did not come to your damn event. But now we're talking about some mess that went on between him, someone that he was dating, and the fact that you dropped some information on him, some unfortunate information. Now, I don't know what the fuck you expected him to do. If you telling him a situation about a nigga that he talking to, what the fuck else do you expect him to do? Of course he gonna bring that information back, and he gonna ask that motherfucker, is the shit true? Like, I don't see nothing messy about that, honestly. Like, if you just gonna sit up here and drop some shit off to me, you damn right I'm gonna ask about it. If I'm fucking with a motherfucker and you bringing me some vital information about the situation, of course I'm gonna ask them, is this shit true? Because if I'm fucking talking to you, I need to know, is this shit true or not? Like, I don't think that he already said that he didn't think that you were messy. So what you know, what is it? And now you want to call him a punk pussy ass bitch. Like, I don't understand what makes him a punk pussy by asking the boy what it was. I don't see nothing wrong with him asking him that. But you know, I don't want to stay on this too long because I don't want nobody thinking I'm biased to Charles or nothing. But I really don't understand this shade. And then he went on talking about how he got a yuck mouth and all of this stuff and blah 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 blah. Now one thing about it, and two motherfucking things for sure. I saw some of y'all comments when the show first aired, and he was like he was 28 years old, and y'all was like, Charles is not no 28, he's at least 32. No, you guys, me and Charles are the same age. Me and Charles are both 29. Charles just turned 29 back in July, because when I was in Atlanta with my friends, he was also in Atlanta with the guy Cameron from Chasing Atlanta, and we actually went to, we actually saw Charles at the club. We didn't get to hang out with him because the Bulldog was so fucking packed and overcrowded, and we weren't going to be able to enjoy ourselves like that. But we actually went and saw Charles and hugged him and everything at the club. We were supposed to hang out with him that night, but it was too crowded, so we didn't. But he really is 29 years old. We graduated in the same class, went to the same damn college, so I know. Yeah, he's 29. He's not in his 30s just yet. But, yeah, I don't understand this shit at all. So, then, in the midst of them talking about that, things get serious because Reese starts talking about his background with foster care. And whenever I hear people talk about foster care, I always cringe because it's not always the best stories. A lot of the stories about foster care is cringe-worthy. And Reese's story was very heartbreaking to me because I think he said his stepmother abused him. She called him a nigger and all types of stuff. And I'm like, I feel like I'm so grateful that I didn't have to endure some things like that. I mean, my mother wasn't perfect, but I just know for a fact that she would jump through hoops and do everything she could for us, like, honestly. And I just can't imagine growing up in a situation where someone treats you like that. But then again, was someone's mother treating you like that? Because I grew up with my stepfather. He was abusive as a motherfucker, abusive to my mother, and sometimes abusive to me. If you watched my video, my Bitch Are You Serious segment called Ice Storm of 97, I talked a lot about that situation. So I get it, but I can't imagine going through foster care and having somebody treat me the way they treated Reese. Like, that shit was like crazy. And then the thing that really got me was when Tony revealed that he had a drug problem, and I never saw that coming. And when I was watching it, when I got home, I wanted to cry. And y'all know I'm not a crier. I'm not emotional, period. So that really tugged at my heartstrings when he said that. I'm like, I never would have known Tony to be on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never would have thought that about him. But it's a lot of things about people that you would never know. Like, people never knew that I was suicidal in the past. Nobody never knew that. Nobody never would have thought that. Because of my vibrant personality, nobody would have thought that I was suicidal. But I was. You know, depression is a motherfucker, and sometimes it can send you to another place. Now, I don't know if Tony was going through depression and it made him turn to drugs. But, you know, who knows? But he did say, I'm sorry, y'all, and this is why this video is going to be raw as fuck and I'm not editing nothing. But anyway, he did say that his drug habit was the reason why he was homeless. So, you know, that is crazy. But before I go into the next thing, I just want to commend Tony for just being real about his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, not being ashamed, because you could help somebody else that's going through that. Because I was ashamed of my depression, and I was ashamed to talk about it. I was ashamed to talk about having suicidal thoughts and being suicidal, or talking about school bullying and things of that nature. I was ashamed to talk about that. But you know, you never know. People need to hear shit. In a lot of my videos where I talked about suicide and school bullying and everything that I've endured in my life, I've gotten countless amounts of messages that said that that video helped them out. So you never know who's watching you. So don't feel bad. You were very brave for mentioning it, because some people would never mention the fact that they were on drugs. So I commend Tony for that. It made you even more likable in my eyes for me. So Reese goes over to Markel's house, and I'm kind of confused, because when Reese walked through the door, he like, oh girl, this is so cute, oh my god. But wasn't you just at his house? So what the fuck am I missing here? Alright. Now, one thing that kind of rubbed me wrong was when I was looking at the show and Markel was just shading people left or right. And I'm like, what is up with the shade, honey? Like, why you shading Kane because he's a designer? Or or what is your problem with Tony? Because honestly, I wish you would have been on Unfiltered, because I was going to ask you about the Tony thing, because I've seen you on social media saying you don't like Tony, and you just said on the show tonight that you didn't like Tony. So I'm curious to know why you don't like Tony, and I'm curious to know if it's going to play out on the show, because you said it over and over again. Tony got to go. I don't like Tony. And I want to know why the hell you don't like Tony. I got to know that. And I was going to ask you about this shit. I swear I knew what I was going to ask y'all and everything. And I just knew I was going to ask you about Tony. I want to get to the bottom of this shit. Why you don't like Tony, nigga? Why you don't like Tony? I wanted to know that. And you said it so many times on this episode. It's like you was disgusted to say the nigga name. I'm like, okay, now why does Markel not like Tony? Now, I don't get about that you don't like Kane. Maybe it was just playful shakers. You did call him Coachella on the last episode, so I don't think it was that deep. But it seemed like you really, really, or really don't like Tony. And I want to know why. So, at the end of the episode, King Kane sat down with B. King, and he sought out some advice from him, and he was like, this whole little situation that happened between him and Tony has been bothering him. You know, he's finding himself getting stressed out and losing focus on the things that he's trying to accomplish. And B. King pretty much gave Kane some sound advice. You know what I'm saying? And Kane pretty much admitted that he was wrong for talking about Tony and mentioning Tony in a negative way, practically threatening his brand in a sense. And I do commend Kane for just admitting to the fact that he was wrong for that, because some of us don't like to admit it, because I know I don't like to admit to when I'm wrong sometimes. And sometimes I could be wrong, and I'm not going to apologize for being wrong until I cool the fuck down and I'll be like, okay, I guess I was wrong, blah, 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 blah. So I will say that B. King was like the voice of reason in this episode, because number one, he squashed that shit with Tony like a grown-ass man. And number two, he was a great listener for King. Like, he was there for King Kane. He gave him the best sound advice. So, you know, it is what it is. This episode was pretty good. It was very touching, I would say, because to hear Reese and Tony's stories, it kind of make you look at them in a different light. Now, I'm very indifferent to Reese because I feel like he's slick messy. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I gotta feel him out a little bit more. As far as Tony, I was indifferent to Tony and B. King at the beginning of the show. But I actually like Tony and B. King, and I wish I would have reached out to them to be on Unfiltered. Hopefully well, I did reach out to Tony, but I didn't reach out to B. King. I wish I would have done it now. Hopefully he would have done it, but you know. But that's my review on Chasing Dallas. Be sure to like, comment, rate, and subscribe. All my social media is at the bottom of the video. And like I said, you guys, guess what? I'm not editing shit. So whatever imperfections you see or, you know, notice is going to stay there, God damn it. Because I'm tired as a motherfucker. And what time is it now? It's officially 2:16. Let me take my ass to sleep. I'll talk to y'all later.